Howdy and hello. Here's 10 builds you can use on max difficulty to make the game easier or have a different experience. First off, there's the exterminator. The goal is to sit there in your own gas, take no damage from it, and have fire that will auto-aim and kill things for you. So to achieve that, we're rocking the spear gun that can apply gas clouds and one-shot chargers if you need to do that. And also, it prevents them from damaging you if you hit them before their charge lands. OhDough backpack. It's an auto-attacking, auto-aiming flamethrower. Gas mines. Pretty big dispersal of gas grenades, if you will, that are exploded from enemy contact or your own. And they don't damage you if they go off, because if you're wearing the heavy gas resist armor and vitality booster, you just don't get damaged by your own gas. Flame Sentry. This is a pretty short cooldown. It does get damaged by gas if you're using it the way I am, which is tossing it essentially into the gas mines on the high ground, hopefully, so it can get some value. But it does act as a decoy. You toss in the gas mine somewhere, the flame sentry, the enemies want to go for the gas mine dispenser and the flame sentry at the same time. So that can buy you time and just kill whatever's chasing you. Crossbow, close bug nest, decent AoE on enemies. Ultimatum, you can kill a bunch of enemies if you want to, but that's mainly to close the Battle Titan nest and to one-shot Battle Titans if you land it correctly. If you hit them but don't kill them instantly, Spear Gun can finish them off pretty well. Or even the Flame Sentry, sometimes the OhDough, and gas grenades. This build's pretty good. It's one of my more enjoyable things I run for bugs to make them not a nightmare solo, because if you're playing solo, Alpha Commanders are spamming with Alpha Warriors. It's a different freaking experience. Fair warning, some bugs put AirPods in your pocket and they know exactly where you are, even when they're gassed with the silly mist, and they will freaking hit you with a young slap chop and destroy you beyond space and time. Anything but air controller, because contrary to popular belief, the airburst rocket launcher isn't that good against things in the air, except for maybe shriekers. But against the bots, this thing shreds patrols, deletes bot drops. If it's mostly comprised of devastators and troopers, also known as Billy Bobs, we can also one-shot Hulks. Hit their heat sink, they're gonna die. And you can do that by simply going into cluster mode and shooting betwixt their legs. Or you'll have Hulks that are constantly at little POIs or random camps that are turned away from you. Shoot into them, and you can kill multiple in a single clutchy shot, which is sick. Commando to take out bunker turrets, factory starter tank turrets, and other tanky enemies that are from distance. Because airburst isn't ideal on things that are tall, for the most part. Anti-tank mines if you're playing on race to flag missions or geo-survey, because those involve staying in one area and defending it, and this will help you kill Hulks occasionally. This can be changed pretty easily though, wouldn't be a huge detriment to the build to not have it. And solo silo, just in case you want to one-shot factory shredders or various other large groups of enemies. Eruptor to kill Hulks if you need to, close fabricators. That's the main reason I used it. I didn't really shoot into crowds too much. Talon, in case things are close to you, you can use any sidearm you want to. Talon's just goated like that. And for your grenade, dynamite might actually be a cooler option here, just for more of that demolition ground control feel. But thermites are the basic Betty option, and I went with that. And the armor is anything that gives me more grenades. And for the bots, I like going heavy, just so I can have a bit more survivability. Next, we have the dark side of diving. Epoch that can one-shot chargers and behemoths if you hit them in the torso at max charge. It usually causes a bleed out, and they perish after about 7 or so seconds. And it two-shots Battle Titans if you're at max charge. The moment you hear beeping, shoot it. And you're good. If you wait too long, it will legit just kill you. Jump pack, so I can jump and reload the Epoch while doing that. And do other stuff. Toss in Napalm Barrage, toss in my Cluster Bomb, which I wouldn't take the Cluster Airstrike. It did okay in certain aspects, killed 2 impalers at one time, that's cool and stuff, but it killed me 3 times. I can't be trusted with the pocket clussy, just not my speed. And Napalm Barrage, if you see a bug breach, toss it on that thing. Get 100 kills, a lot. I usually don't use it for that reason, but I see it in every single loadout ever, so I may as well give it a gander. Vitality Booster, I like it a lot. And our primer is going to be the Torture. Douse to ground and fire if you're playing as not the host right now won't be as ideal, so maybe swap for a crossbow. But if you are the host, it does freaking work, shun. If you're playing against Wilburs, aka the Orange Scavengers, I do believe they're currently fire resistant for some reason, or fire immune rather, so maybe not ideal. But if you get, in this case, a Pouncer Hunter Seed, it is wicked. Very fun stuff. So Geosurvey was awesome in that sense. Grenade pistol to close bug nests. Maybe kill alpha commanders after, what, 2 or 3 shots. One shot hive guards, not the lords, hive guards. And try and maybe kill any enemies that are further away if you're using the torture because you don't have the range to kill them. If you want to stop a bug breach for various reasons. And I had gas grenades, but I didn't really use them much at all. Legitimately, I didn't know I even brought them until about 20 minutes in. So I'd probably change that to either thermites or dynamite. If you want to use gas grenades, though, keep it pushing, brother. Then I have the fire resist armor. Medium. Yeah, I want some mobility versus the bugs. Medium's a good middle ground, I suppose. This was a fun loadout, honestly. Jump packing around, tossing in cluster bombs, napalm bombs, hitting epoch shots while jump packing, killing battle titans fairly quickly. Up next is extraterrestrial overwatch. AMR for killing stingrays, harvesters, and especially overseers. Preferably the ground ones, because the sky dudes, you can kill them too, but go for the jetpack. They'd be drifting in the sky, so the headshot is tough. Hover backpack to get to the high ground to provide the overwatch on the squilliums. FRV for movement to traverse, get different locations quicker. EMS mortar, you can pick whatever you want. I chose this just to have a non-lethal option to stun things, maybe to get easier headshots on a flying overseer, for instance. It's a snow planet, so I also brought the muscle enhancement booster. If I was playing with Randys that weren't on this planet, I'd probably take a sample one just to help them out a little bit. Siege ready for more ammunition on AMR, and my primary in this case, which will be the Purifier, with faster reload speed. This lets you get essentially the most kills if you play your cards right, because you can get 15 kills in a single shot from distance. It's pretty hilarious. Grenade pistol, just in case you want to help out and do some objectives if you're feeling froggy. And for the grenade itself, I brought throwing knives. That was a mistake. Maybe take stun grenades, because if I had them in this case, I could have saved this fella from the body camless baton-wielding ground overseer that beat the brakes off him 6 months sideways. Yeah, we're going with that. Next, we have interdimensional railgunner. The ability to one-shot war striders is simply game-changing. It improves the experience tenfold if you find yourself on that faction, and you still maintain the ability to one-shot hulks and do various other things with the weapon. So you get to have more fun. Pair that with movement in the form of a warp backpack, and you are godlike. You could also use jump backpack if you're on missions that have a lot more of a disparity between high to low ground, in which warping around kind of sucks. You just warp straight and fall to your death or to some damage. I'm using solo silo to take out factor striders in one shot or destroy objectives, as mentioned previously. You could swap that out for E17 in this case, because anytime you're using a weapon that has heavy pin, you can kill a factor strider with E17 and said weapon to the eyeball. But with railgun, you can also kill tanks to the front. If you're on a Warstrider Seed, there won't be any tanks, so not a huge deal in this case, though. Rocket Sentry. Need I say more? It's just a good sentry. But if you're facing Jet Brigade and Berserker spam, doesn't do a whole lot in my case. So bear that in mind. If you find yourself, again, facing Berserker spam, I recommend Double Freedom or the Halo Shotgun. Preferably the former. And if that's the case, I'd recommend Talon for your sidearm, and your grenade can be dynamite, thermite, either one works just fine. If you're on regular missions where you're facing a bunch of rocket striders and devastators, Diligence and the Amendment. Because you possess sentience, you can change railgun to AMR if you want to, but try and be understanding of what constellation you're facing. If it's Hulks and War Striders, railgun clears AMR, there's no competition, no question. If you're going to be hitting long-range shots with a railgun, that's also a better option since AMR has pretty hefty drop-off damage. But I do like AMR a lot in the kind of the same playstyle. So pick your own poison. Next is Arc Trooper, a powerful build on every faction, including the fourth one. Your teammates, homies, compadres, anyone you hold near and dear to you. If they're actually near, they're going to get sent at least 1.21 gigawatts coursing through their veins. On the bugs, you simply take Arc Thrower, the Arc Dog, Tesla Tower, and if you're facing Dragon Roaches, don't be a dent and bring Eat 17. You ain't doing nothing with that. It's not worth it. Instead, you have Ultimatum to one-shot those things. Hit the wing, they're done. hit the face, they're also dead. And you want crossbow to close bug nests and also have a bit more kill potential if you need it. Unless they change OhDough targeting, always wear the 95% arc resistance armor when using it on any faction that gets close to you, such as the bugs or the squids. Otherwise, you're just asking to get taken out back like Old Yeller. Not a good experience. Do not recommend it one bit. And this build's pretty fun. You can stun lock chargers. I wouldn't try and kill them unless it's a base charger. It takes around 6 shots to arc throw to the face. But if it's a charger behemoth, just stun it, thermite it, and walk away. Sitting there trying to just kill it is not the play whatsoever. And use crossbow to kill impalers because arc thrower ain't doing too much to kill that quickly neither. Or use ultimatum. One of the coolest things about the build is you'll consistently get pretty high kill streaks. For me, that's upwards of 80 without really trying that hard because you have the consistent damage of the arc thrower and the OhDough in tandem, which is cool. On the bots, your stratagems are the exact same. And if you're facing tanks, eat 17 to the front of them, and then a single or maybe 2 arc thrower shots, it's dead. If they actually land, though, there's a problem with targeting, so just try and get to higher ground, I suppose. But it's a cool interaction. Same thing kind of applies to hitting the undercarriage of a factory strider. You hit it with 1E17, and then you can shoot arc throwers into the minions that just spawned and have it arc and eventually kill it. Fairly quickly, all things considered. So fun little things you can do. An arc thrower is going to be noise into devastators, billy bobs, and it can stun like hulks. It can kill them quickly if you land 2 shots on the visor. But because you can't aim it, that will be easier said than done. And Tesla Tower is the tank. It'll sit there taking aggro for enemies and honestly killing a decent fair bit of them. Your primary weapon should be anything that can kill the chinny guns on a factory strider quickly. Eruptor, Deadeye, kind of, Dominator. Otherwise, those things will tear you up something freaking serious. And secondary, I believe I did either Talon or Ultimatum here. And grenades, thermites are the constant trend. Now armor, you do not have to wear arc resist because bots aren't that fast. On Jet Brigade, yeah, might want to change your mind, but in general, it shouldn't be a big deal. So I just went with I went with Ragdoll resist so I could sit there and charge my shots more often instead of getting knocked back constantly. And if you want to use it versus the Illuminate, just change your primary weapon to the variable so that way you can one-shot harvesters. Next, we have Squillium Squasher. Stalwart to kill anything that isn't a harvester or stingray. Warp backpack for movement to survive certain things, kind of, but mainly to line up your shots to kill harvesters. Tesla Tower. This thing is ridiculous when you combine it with our primary weapon. The Gatling Sentry, Vitality Booster, and our primary gun is going to be variable. You one-shot harvesters, you deal a ton of damage to meat bobs, occasionally one-shotting them too. Grenade pistol to close into the dropships, and gas grenades, just for more horde control. This build's pretty fun. I like it a lot. You could just bring supply backpack. That'd be pretty much better than warp in this case. But I like warping and then hitting variable shots. It feels cool, makes me have more fun playing the game in general. So that's what I do. And honestly, I don't believe I use my sentries anywhere near as much as I should have. So if I did, things would have gone much better. And some folks be asking, how do you kill stingrays? Grenade pistol. If you get decent at hitting the shots, it's honestly a pretty fast time to kill. I think it can maybe 2-shot it. I did not ever 2-shot it. It took me way more than that. I just kept missing. But you also have your Gatling Sentry that can kill it too, if it's not preoccupied shooting anything else. Then we have Moby Johnson Diver. Name's work in progress, but you got Spear Gun. This one-shots hulks, emits gas cloud, disorientating the bolts and whatnot. Warp Backpack. Mobility is important for our secondary. And Flame Sentry for shenanigans, but it also does pretty well if you get certain layouts of the map. And I did take Eagle Airstrike. I would probably have much rather had Eat 17 or Commando instead. Or maybe a 5 to KG. And then Muscle Enhancement for the Snow Planet. Primary is going to be Diligence because our secondary is Crisper. The Crisper is destroying tanks, killing factory striders, just being an absolute menace. And with Warp Backpack, you have mobility to close the distance and kill those enemies very quickly before they're ever a problem. So no need to disarm chinny guns on factory striders. They just kill them. Sometimes they die really fast, which don't show the devs. Like, come on, guys, keep it a secret. They might nerf it again. And for grenade, I probably should have taken dynamite because I can combine that with the gas cloud of the spear gun. And that would just be a massive radius, killing a bunch of enemies that are confused, walking in a short little area. That'd be my change. And the armor is medic, 4 extra stims. Finally, we have the engineer. Recoilless rifle, bunch of turrets, diligence in my case, you can use if you want to. And I did bring the gunslinger armor with the senator. I don't know why, but it's kind of cool. And thermites. I had laser sentry, which I feel as though did next to nothing, considering it just goes for things it can't destroy. Rocks, shield and shields, not ideal. Rocket sentry and autocannon sentry, those are obviously going to be the standard. But for the last one being laser, I should swap that to maybe the mortar sentry and place it on myself so it can just shoot things that are patrolling. Or I could have brought the anti-tank emplacement to help with the factory strata convoy. Because recoilless rifle can kill them pretty quickly, but sometimes they get kind of glitched and they're walking on top of their homies, and it makes the one shot very hard to hit because they're just moving sporadically. And you can use the anti-tank emplacement to take out their tank turret very fast and mitigate the potential of you getting one shot. So yeah, pretty basic stuff, all things considered. You sit there just shooting everything you see. Tank tower, shoot that. Fabricators, shoot all of those. And depending on the map you're on, you tend to have pretty good sight lines. So you just take out the majority of the map from one location. Then we have Democracy's Last Bastion, AMR, and Directional Shield, which if there existed a one-handed support weapon that could one-shot Hulks or deal big damage to them, I'd rock that instead, but there ain't, so unfortunate. EAT 17, Solo Silo, which in this case, I use Solo Silo as if it was a 500 kg, getting pretty good kills on the automatons anytime I needed to, tossing it away from myself, running towards it, and shooting it behind myself. The crossbow and the talon, both one-handed and both can be used with directional shield. And grenade is thermite, as per usual. I'm using the rock solid armor to mitigate ragdolls from rockets that hit my shield, which if I didn't have that, this would have probably been absolutely dreadful. So make sure you're rocking that. In hindsight, or actually if I was playing in a team, I'd probably bring the HMG or anti-tank emplacement with a shield emplacement, just for even more shielding and shenanigans to take place. That's the change I would make. That concludes the 10 one-man army builds you can use for anything really. If you're playing in a group setting, by the way, you can change a bunch of stuff because in a group, things are different. You have a lot more leniency and more shenanigans can take place. Whereas solo, if you don't really have a build that you can use to kill things, it's just less fun. If you're trying to just beat missions, that's also an option, but I think killing things and beating missions is way more fun. Anywho, thank y'all for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more like it, and have a good day.